Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Harthen and my project is on Nicaragua. The flag of Nicaragua was adopted on September 4th, 1908, but not official until August 27th, 1971. It consists of three equal-sized horizontal bands of blue, white, and blue, with Nicaragua's national coat of arms centered in the middle white band. The coat of arms consists of a triangle encircled with the words República de Nicaragua on the top and America Central on the bottom. The triangle in the coat of arms represents equality, while the rainbow signifies peace, the Goro Frigio, Phrygian cap, symbolizes liberty, and the five volcanoes represent the brotherhood and unity of all five Central American countries. The banner design originated from the former blue, white, and blue flag of the Federal Republic of Central America. The blue bands symbolize the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, and the white band symbolizes the land between the two bodies of water that Nicaragua lies on. En Dios confiamos is the official slogan of Nicaragua, which means in God we trust. Nicaragua is located in Central America between Honduras to its north, Costa Rica to its south, the Caribbean Sea to its west, and the North Pacific Ocean to its east. Its major attractions include the Little Corn Island, which is seen on the left, San Cristobal Volcano, which is seen on top right, and the city of Granada, which is seen on the bottom right. The Corn Islands are two islands about 43 miles east of the Caribbean coast of Nicaragua. Tourism has grown immensely recently, with the many surrounding coral reefs making the islands a popular destination for scuba diving and snorkeling. San Cristobal Volcano is among the most active volcanoes in Nicaragua and stands at 5,725 feet, making it the tallest volcano in Nicaragua. It is located in the northwest corner of the country near the city of Chichagalpa, Chinandega. The volcano also experiences tourism in terms of hiking, however, it is mainly seen as a distinctive landmark. Granada is located in western Nicaragua. It has historically been known as one of Nicaragua's most important cities, both politically and economically, as it has a rich colonial heritage. This heritage can be seen through the city's architecture and structure, which continues to bring tourists in year to year. Tourism is a growing sector for commerce in Granada as a result. Granada is slightly larger than Pennsylvania and slightly smaller than New York State. Its population as of July 2018 was 6,085,213. The majority of the population resides in the western half of the country, with much of the urban growth clustered in the capital city of Managua. The coastal areas also show large population clusters. The government type is a presidential republic, and the president is Daniel Ortega. Its capital city is Managua, which is also the largest city in Nicaragua. Nicaragua's timeline includes in 1522, when Spanish explorer Gil Gonzalez de Avila named Nicaragua after a local Native American chief, Nicaro. After centuries of Spanish conquest and British influence extended over the inhabitants of Nicaragua, Nicaragua became fully independent in 1838. In 1893 to 1909, General Zelaya seized power and established a dictatorship, but was overthrown with assistance from U.S. troops in 1909. Pushback towards U.S. military presence in Nicaragua resulted in guerrilla warfare, or a guerrilla campaign led by Augusto Cesar Sandino, and Sandino was assassinated on the orders of the National Guard commander Somoza Garcia in 1934. In 1937, Somoza was elected president, starting a 44-year-long dictatorship by the Somoza family. In 1961, the Sandinista National Liberation Front was founded. In 1975, the FSLN military offensive ended with the oust of Somoza, and in 1984, Daniel Ortega was elected president. From 1990 to 2004, Nicaragua experienced fluctuating leadership changes between the FSLN and opposition parties. From 2004 to 2006, Nicaragua experienced many debt and political crises, and ex-president Daniel Ortega returned to power in the elections of 2006. From 2006 to the present, Daniel Ortega's presidential influence has increased, despite allegations that Ortega's government has been financed by proceeds of the drugs trade. In 2018, protests towards Ortega and Ortega's social and economic policies were met with violence and harsh repression by the government. The major religions in Nicaragua are Roman Catholic at 50%, Evangelical at 33.2%, other at 2.9%, unspecified at 13.2%, and none at 0.7%. Nicaragua's customs include beans and corn as the staple foods, while tortillas are also served with most meals. Coffee and tea, which is made from ground tortillas and cacao, are the most popular non-alcoholic drinks. Meat and steaks are often served on special occasions. Nicaragua has long been a society of classes, and the Sandinista Revolution in 1979 attempted to expropriate power from the top classes and redistribute wealth and education. Land is the traditional basis of wealth and status in Nicaragua. 95.3% of Nicaraguans speak Spanish, which is the official language of Nicaragua. 2.2% speak Mosquito, 2% speak Mestizo of the Caribbean coast, and 0.5% of the population speak other languages. English and indigenous languages are also found on the Caribbean coast of Nicaragua. Spanish and English are the most common forms of written language, and public signs can also be found written in the indigenous language of Mosquito. The most popular sports in Nicaragua include football or soccer, baseball, and boxing. Holidays include religious celebrations such as Christmas, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Immaculate Conception, which is shown on the bottom right. The most important holiday in Nicaragua is La Purisma, which is a week-long celebration of Immaculate Conception. Non-religious holidays include New Year's, Labor Day, Liberation Day, which is celebrated on July 18th, and Independence Day, which is celebrated September 15th. The official currency of Nicaragua is the Nicaraguan Cordoba, which was established on March 20th, 1912, replacing the peso moneda corriente. The Cordoba was named after the conquistador Francisco Hernandez de Cordoba. One Cordoba is equal to 31 thousandths of a U.S. dollar. The symbol for a Cordoba is C followed by a $. Nicaragua's major imports are consumer goods, machinery, and raw materials. As of 2016, Nicaragua had a negative trade balance of $748 million US in net imports. Nicaragua's top export commodities are beef, coffee, and gold, and about 50% of Nicaragua's exports in 2017 included textiles and agriculture. Nicaragua's top import countries were the United States, Mexico, China, Guatemala, and Costa Rica. Nicaragua's top export countries were the United States at number 1 as well, Mexico, El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Guatemala. Nicaragua is the poorest country in Central America and the second poorest country in the entire Western Hemisphere. Nicaragua's GDP in terms of purchasing power parity was $36.4 billion in 2017, up 4.5% from 2016. However, this growth was still not sufficient enough to make a significant difference in the economy of Nicaragua. As of 2017, the unemployment rate was 6.4%. In 2008, the unemployment rate was 46.5%, so the past 10 years have seen considerable positive growth in this sector. The real GDP growth in 2017 was 4.9%, and effects from its economic crises can still be seen today. The inflation rate in 2017 was 3.9%, up 0.4% from the previous year. As aforementioned, although Nicaragua has seen some economic growth in the past few years, Nicaragua continues to be the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere and continues to struggle from political and economic unrest today. Violent pushback from the government towards protesters due to Social Security tax rates being raised along with benefits being cut earlier this year has continued to lessen hopes that Nicaragua can pull itself out of personal debt. Moving on to communication, about 82.8% of the entire population are literate, meaning that those over the age of 15 can read and write. Internet usage is increasing nationwide, with more Nicaraguans connecting to the internet every year, and cyber cafes allowing cheap internet access to large parts of the population. When communicating and doing business with a Nicaraguan, it is important to understand that most Nicaraguans have an indirect style of communication while doing business specifically. It is important to ask multiple Nicaraguan colleagues the same answer to formulate an opinion on something and to understand something fully. When greeting someone, handshakes are the norm, while informally, a light hug and cheek kiss are commonly used for friends and family. When conversing, it is appropriate to stand slightly less than an arm's length away from the other person during conversations in Nicaragua. Interactions between women and men are treated slightly differently in Nicaragua. It is commonly assumed that women will be fairly reserved when speaking to a man they have not yet met in a professional setting. Depending on class, eye contact within Nicaragua varies. Typically, the lower classes do not use direct eye contact, especially with foreigners. For the more affluent, direct eye contact is more common. Nicaragua ranks 132nd out of 190 overall on the Ease of Doing Business scale according to Doing Business 2019 from the World Bank. In general, it is important to first build a relationship with those that you are conducting business with in Nicaragua, as Nicaraguans greatly value relationship harmony. Due to this, it is important to avoid pressure and hard-selling tactics to avoid any conflict while conducting business. Decisions are usually made from the top down, as Nicaraguans value hierarchy. Professional dress ranges from business casual to business professional in Nicaragua. However, jeans and other more casual attire are appropriate in some industries. Titles are also fairly important in Nicaragua. It is important to address someone by the title Señor, Señora, or Señorita, followed by the surname, especially if you are just meeting this person. Once you become familiar with a business associate, first names are appropriate. However, it is still important to use don or dona in front of the person's first name as a sign of respect. Although there is no specific ritual associated with giving or receiving business cards in Nicaragua, it is important to treat any cards that you are given with respect. It is also advisable to have one side of your business card translated into Spanish while presenting the Spanish side up when handing it to the recipient. Taking into account the cultural habits and differences between Nicaragua and the United States, it is important to understand that Nicaragua has faced multiple significant setbacks due to economic and political strife through its history. However, there is much potential in the Nicaraguan market, and its economy has continued to grow despite its setbacks. Because much of Nicaragua suffers from personal debt and the country is known as being the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, it is important to keep these factors in mind while doing business and investing in Nicaragua. 58.5% of the total population of Nicaragua lives in urban areas, while 82.8% of the entire population are literate. So it is important to understand that a combination between push and pull marketing strategies may have the best effect while doing business in Nicaragua. Considering distribution, infrastructure in terms of road networks and ports varies widely. This indicates that, again, using a combination between direct and indirect distribution channels will be most effective. In certain urban areas, especially those on the coast, direct distribution would be easier depending on the business, while indirect distribution would be most effective in the many rural areas that make up Nicaragua that depend on smaller markets and greater steps for distribution. In general, it is important to consider that although Nicaragua does not have a significant difference in business culture to the United States, understanding the political and economic history of Nicaragua and the effects that these have on business has an immense effect on whether business will be successful in Nicaragua or not. Thanks for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, let me know.